hit that screen.
Good morning, my name is Kerry Balster. We're about 5 minutes from the start of the PVS November Open. Excited to have you out there watching on the live stream. The lanes from top to bottom are 1 to 8. I'll be calling out names and events as they come up. Thank you very much. Join you here soon. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on this glorious fall morning for the day 3 of the PVS November Open, the 9-10 morning session of this meet. We're excited to start this morning with the 9-10 girls event 41 200-yard backstroke. The lanes run from the bottom of your screen in lane 1 to lane 8 at the top of your screen. For event 41, girls 9, 10, 200 yard backstroke, we have in lane 2 Sloan Miller of AAC. In lane 3, Riley Hahn of Tolson. In lane 4, Charlotte Schotter of INCAP. In lane 5, Abby Minar of AAC. In lane 6, Charlie Brittain of AAC. And in lane 7, Diane Shin of INCAP. Girls are getting into the pool for event 41, girls 9, 10, 200 yard backstroke. First event of the day. At the 50-yard mark, quite the race right now between 3 of our competitors. At the halfway point of this event, it's pretty close neck and neck between Abby Minar and Diane Shin in lanes 5 and 7. Final lap for these amazing ladies as all of them are beginning to turn the corner for their final lap. Abby Minar making the final turn off the wall. Separated herself a little bit from the rest of the field here in lane 5. What a great finish by Abby. Other girls coming in. Second place, Charlotte Schotter of INCAP, setting a personal best. What amazing work by all these young ladies as they come in to finish the 200-yard backstroke, the girls 9-10. Great work by all of them. Excellent, tremendous effort just to finish this race. Next up we'll have event 42, boys 9-10 200-yard backstroke heat 1. In lane 3, Aaron Richards. In lane 4, Preston Rawl. In lane 5, Asher Cameron. Preston Rawl of Incap really pushing it right out of that on that first lap, right out onto the turn. Preston Rawl extending that lead he took on the first lap into the second lap, now at the halfway point, 121. Tremendous job by all these boys. Preston Rawl in lane 4 making his final turn for the last lap. Looks like he really picked it up here in this last lap. Here comes Preston in lane 4 into the wall for 245. Asher Cameron in lane 5 coming into the wall here. Touching with time at 3:14.71. Aaron Richards making his last turn to finish his last lap. Amazing job by these gentlemen. Here comes Aaron making his last turn, coming into the final stretch of this race. Amazing job just to finish a race at this distance at this age. Great job as Aaron Richards touches the wall. Finishing event 42, boys 9, 10, 200-yard backstroke. Our next event, we're going to get into the heats for the girls. Event 43, girls 9, 10, 50-yard freestyle. In heat 1, Lane 3, from the bottom of your screen to the top, we have Aubrey Stearns. In lane 4, Sophia Muir. And lane 5, Sienna Fubini. All from AAC. It's tight between these ladies in a mano-a-mano match here in Heat 1 of the girls 9, 10, 50-yard freestyle. Aubrey Stearns touching first, just barely in lane 3 in front of Sophia Muir as they're coming down the final stretch of this 50 freestyle. It's neck and neck as they come to touch the wall. It looks like Aubrey gets Sophia by just a hair. Heat 2 of the girls 9, 10, 50-yard freestyle. In lane 2, Alexandra Pastanika. In lane 3, Molly Fieri. In lane 4, Bridget Hoffman. In lane 5, Ella Biggs. Lane 6, Serafina Sawyer. In lane 7, Emma Hagenbarth. These 50 free heats go awful quick. The girls are off in Heat 2 of this girls 9, 10, 50-yard freestyle. A close race again here as you see them coming off the wall, going to the turn. A real tight race at the turn there as they come into the final stretch of this 50-yard free in Heat 2. Looks like Alexandra might be pulling out just a little bit here as they come to the wall for this 50-yard free. Alexandra touches first in 41 seconds, followed by Hoffman and Fury. Heat 3 of this girls 50-yard freestyle. Lane 1, Anna Soligan. Lane 2, Ezra Dagason. Lane 3, Savannah Foley. Lane 4, Livy Jane Abbey. Lane 5, Vivienne Lagone. Lane 6, Vivian Snow. Lane 7, Isla McGuire. Lane 8, Emma Azram. Swimmers are set. And they're off. These races just fly by if you're not paying attention, these 50 frees. We have 9 total heats of the girls 50 freestyle. Such exciting thing to watch this morning as you're getting up and having your morning coffee at home. In Heat 3 of this girls 9, 10, 50-yard freestyle, we've hit the turn. Girls are on their way back. Isla McGuire with a slight lead at the turn there. But it looks like Savannah Foley might be catching her. It's neck and neck as they come to the wall. Looks like Isla just barely. Oh, Miss Soligan, at least via the timing strips. Heat 4 of this girls 9, 10, 50-yard freestyle. Lane 1, Olwyn Lyde. Lane 2, Ophelia Lindstrom. Lane 3, Sam Glass. Lane 4, Sasha Hurtado. Lane 5, Tia Vargas Collins. Lane 6, Matilde McCoskey. Lane 7, Tate Larrabee. Lane 8, Mira Calmer. The girls on the blocks. just a momentary delay here as we get some of the swimmers figured out into their correct lane so they can compete in this 50-yard freestyle this morning. A glorious morning for day 3 of the PVS November Open. And we're in the 9-10-year-old session of this meet. Girls are up and they're off. Such tight races, these 50-yard frees, so exciting to watch as the girls come to the turn here in this heat 4 of this 50-yard freestyle. 9-10 girls as they touch the wall. Hard to tell sometimes who exactly is in the lead as they hit the turn. They're so tightly packed. Looks like we're shaping up for a photo finish in this one. In lane 3 with Sam Glass, and lane 5 Tia Vargas Collins, both of Tolleson, battling it out. It looks like Tia may have just beaten her out to the touchpad. Moving on to heat 5 of this girls 50-yard freestyle. In lane 1, Kaya Shutkan of Tolleson. Lane 2, Hillary Mitchell of AAC. Lane 3, Delaney Plutz of NCAP. Lane 4, Annabelle Lorenzi of Tolleson. Lane 5, Rebecca Hungerford of AAC. Lane 6, Isabel Dennis of AAC. Lane 7, Chloe Rosenthal of Tolleson. Lane 8, Izzy Young of NCAP. Looking for these ladies as they're off to set some personal bests, battling really against themselves as much as they're battling against the competition. All the training that goes into this. Here they come into the turn shortly here. Looks like we have a battle shaping up between Hillary Mitchell of AAC and Delaney Plutz of NCAP, but you never quite know as they come off the turn who's going to get the right push all the way out in lane 8. It looks like Izzy Young might be making a push for it too. We're coming to the final stretch here of this 50-yard free, heat 5 of 9. It looks like Miss Plutz of NCAP just gets the edge, setting a personal best. Heat 6. Lane 1, Isabel Lee of Tolleson. Lane 2, Vivian Fadaros of AAC. Lane 3, Yasmin Hussein of Tolleson. Lane 4, Annabelle Wizenant of NCAP. Lane 5, Juliana Weiss of AAC. Lane 6, Zara Olway of Tolleson. Lane 7, Emmy Romhilt of Tolleson. And lane 8, Hadley Simpson of NCAP. What a fun event to sit here and watch as these ladies swim. All of these children swim this morning, competing really as much against themselves as the competition, looking to improve their own personal best. All the practice that goes into these meets, all the people around helping out make these meets possible. Very thankful for them, and to the pools that allow us to swim here. What a beautiful morning and a beautiful location we're at this morning as the girls are set to go off in this heat 6 of 9. For the 50-yard free, there they go, they are off. These girls are really moving down that pool here in this heat 6 of 9 of this 50-yard free this morning. It looks like Hadley Simpson of NCAP out there in lane 8 has really separated herself from the pack in this particular heat. She is running away with it. The other lady's not too far behind her, and she does finish out in first. In lane 6, Zara Oldway of Tolleson coming in second in this heat 6 of 9. Heat 7 of 9 in the girls 50-yard free. Lane 1, Eliza Gustafson. Lane 2, Kensington White. Lane 3, Sloan Miller. Lane 4, Kinsey Corbett. Lane 5, Gia Scandalous. Lane 6, Sarah Kessler. Lane 7, Emma Groper. Lane 8, Joanna Liu. And they're off. Man, these heats just fly by. If you're not paying attention, you're going to miss something in this fast and furious action here in the 9-10 session, third day of the PV November Open here in the Prince William County Schools system. They're already at the turn. So yeah, I can hardly even announce to you where we're at. before these girls are making the turn. Surely many of them would far outswim me, that's for sure. And this is quite the race here we have happening in lane 4. It looks like, oh, Kinsey Corbett comes in first, 35.75. Close to her personal best. And now we're on to heat 8. Lane 1, Charlie Bertain of AAC. Lane 2, Anna Huggins of Tolleson. Lane 3, Mary Pickens of AAC. Lane 4, Emily Moore of NCAP. Lane 5, Brooklyn McGinley of NCAP. Lane 6, Emerson Inanito of NCAP. Lane 7, Charlotte Blumenstein of Tolleson. And lane 8, Emily Shoemaker of NCAP, all the way at the top of your screen. And Emily is off to a blistering pace here in that first little bit. Here they come to the turn. Always hard to keep up with these swimmers as they're swimming their 50-yard frees. We're already in heat 8 of 9 of the girls 50-yard free, event 43 of this on this third day of the PV November Open. And Emerson Ianito in lane 6. Last heat of this 50-yard freestyle girls, heat 9, lane 1, Ainsley Lamont, lane 2, Peyton Alam, lane 3, Michelle Baturnde, lane 4, Reagan Marn, lane 5, Riley Hahn, lane 6, Diane Shin, lane 7, Taylor Bondarenko, lane 8, Kinsey Alex. Here they come to the turn. Another tight race here in this final heat of the girls 9, 10, 50-yard freestyle, event 43 on day 3 of this PV November Open. Beautiful morning, and it is quite a tight race as it comes to the wall. Reagan Marm, 29.44, setting a personal best. We now move on to event 44 of the boys 9, 10, 50-yard freestyle. In lane 2, Samson Myers. In lane 3, Zeke Miller. In lane 4, Daniel Roca. In lane 5, Dixon Thorpe. In lane 6, James Balser. In lane 7, Jansky Adonis. Just a slight pause as we're moving over from event 43, girls 9, 10, 50-yard freestyle, to the boys, event 44, 9, 10, 50-yard freestyle, heat 1 of 7. And these boys are off. They're into the pool. These 50-yard frees go so quickly you hardly even notice that they happen if you're not paying attention. These boys swimming hard in this first heat of 7 for the boys 50-yard freestyle. Here they're coming to the wall in the final turn. James Balser with the 36.38, it looks like, followed by Mr. Thorpe, 39.79. Great job by these boys in heat 1. Heat 2 of this 50-yard freestyle for the 9, 10 boys. Lane 1, Alexander Perez. Lane 2, Cash Miller. Lane 3, Ethan Berkowitz. Lane 4, Spencer Riesinger. Lane 5, Brand Granados Korsmonk. Lane 6, Jack Agnew. Lane 7, Benjamin Miller. Lane 8, Harris Mahmood. Heat 2, they're up on the blocks, ready to go, and off they are. In heat 2 of this 9, 10, 50 free, the boys are coming to the turn here. Looks like Harris Mahmood out there in lane 8 got to the turn quickest, but hard to tell. All the way across the pool, Alexander Perez is really close out in lane 1, and he is moving down the stretch here as they come to the touch. It looks like Alexander Perez and Tolleson, lane 1, 42.09. Quite a good swim. We'll be turning fast and furious here to heat 3 of this boys 9-10 50-yard freestyle. In lane 1, Ali Dagestan of AAC. Lane 2, Aaron Richards of Tolleson. Lane 3, David Marley of INCAP. Lane 4, Christian Chang of Tolleson. Lane 5, Jackson Pulcinelli of AAC. Lane 6, Arjun Pegararo of Tolleson. Lane 7, Aaron Jackson of INCAP. Lane 8, Luke Logston of AAC. And they're off into the pool before I can even finish the names on this list. This looks like it's shaping up to be quite a good heat, good race here as the boys push each other. Again, more in some sense racing against themselves and pushing themselves to exceed their own personal best and pushing each other, but it always helps to have a partner pushing you down the pool as you race and compete with one another and with yourself. And it is quite a race shaping up here between lane 3, David Marley, and lane 4, Christian Chang. INCAP and Tolleson coming down the final stretch here in lane 3. It's Mr. Marley beating him out 41-20. We're going to move on quickly to heat 4 here. In lane 1, you'll see Liam Ross of AAC. In lane 2, Sam Parker of Tolleson. Lane 3, Connor Clark of INCAP. Lane 4, Austin Schroeder of INCAP. Lane 5, Lucas Pinheiro of AAC. Lane 6, Ian Rios of INCAP. Lane 7, Finn Lapham of AAC. Lane 8, Danny Sutton of Tolleson. They're up and on the blocks, ready to go. Taking their marks. And they're off in the pool in heat 4 of 7 of this boys 50-yard freestyle. Event 44 this morning on day 3 of the PV November Open. Quite a wonderful Sunday morning in the fall here. You woke up, there's a little chill in the air, not like yesterday. And we're already at the turn with this heat 4 of 7 in this 50-yard freestyle for these boys. They're off and racing. I tell you what, all the way out there in lane 5, Lucas Pinheiro really racing into the wall, it looks like, and he does with 32.90. What a time. Moving on to heat 5 of 7. Lane 1, Kavan Koopman of Tolleson. Lane 2, Brandon Patton of INCAP. Lane 3, Alex Truitt of INCAP. Lane 4, Ravi Martinez of AAC. Lane 5, Reed Velasco of INCAP. Lane 6, Jacob Rich of Tolleson. Lane 7, Kenan Ozbek of AAC. Lane 8, Weston Caulfield of AAC. And they're in the water and off down this first stretch for one lap in this men's 9-10 50-yard freestyle for these boys here on day 3. Again, what a beautiful facility they have here that we're using this morning, and thanks to all the officials and volunteers who helped make this possible. What an amazing technology that we can watch this from home wherever you're sitting all around the world. As Mr. Velasco comes in 33.84 and here in heat 5 of 7. Quite a time. What a great race there. Heat 6, Inez Popescu of Tolleson in lane 1. In lane 2, Jamu Okolo of INCAP. Lane 3, Ellis Baker of INCAP. Lane 4, Ezra Itanayer of INCAP. Lane 5, Timothy Friend of AAC. Lane 6, Michael Flaherty of Tolleson. Lane 7, Andrew Weisenhunt of INCAP. Lane 8, Brett Conjura of AAC. And they're off and in the pool. These races move awful fast, these 50-yard frees. Boys are really moving down the pool here. Looks like Jamo in lane 2 maybe coming to the turn and touch him first, but as I said before, often hard to tell out there in lane 8. Looks like Brett Conjura got off the wall quite well. It's really going to be a battle right here to the end in this particular heat. Heat 6 of 7. Oh, and Jamu just outreaches for 32.79. Quite a great time. A personal best for him. Last heat here of the boys 50-yard free, heat 7. In lane 1, Quinn Moynihan of NCAP. Lane 2, Will Coleman of AAC. Lane 3, Vicus Gonzalez of AAC. Lane 4, Miles Ledford of AAC. Lane 5, Arinzan Chanlu of NCAP. Lane 6, Brandon Ty of NCAP. Lane 7, Walter Pigosky of Tolleson. Lane 8, Jameson Mount of NCAP. And these boys are almost to the turn before I've even finished their names. That's how fast they are. They are really off and racing. Up in lane 5, it looks like Arins might have a nose here, but in just around him, they're closing. It's going to be quite a photo finish here at the end. Oh, and Mr. Ledford just beats him out with a 30.98, a personal best from what I can tell. A great job to these boys here in event 44 of the boys 9, 10, 50-yard freestyle. We're off to event 45 of the girls 9, 10, 100-yard IM. Heat 1 of 6 in lane 1, Anna Soligan of NCAP. Lane 2, Bridget Hoffman of AAC. Lane 3, Vivian Snow of AAC. Lane 4, Isla McGuire of AAC. Lane 5, Mira Calmer of Tolleson. Lane 6, Tia Vargas Collins of Tolleson. Lane 7, Melania Havrileski of Tolleson. Lane 8, Annabelle Wisenhunt of NCAP. And they're off. This is the event where they get to show off all their strokes here, starting with the fly out. Quite a wonderful race to watch, actually, if you've never watched swimming and like me are a novice with a kid learning how to do this and figuring out what swim is all about. You can tell all about what's happening, all these strokes. You can learn a lot about them just by watching them. They're now on to the backstroke here as they come down to complete their first lap of this 100-yard IM. As they touch the wall here, looks like Melania out there in lane 7 touches first. 44.34 as they move into their breaststroke. These young ladies competing against themselves and against their competitors here as they're trying to lay down personal best and demonstrate their proficiency across all the disciplines, primary disciplines here in swimming. Melania out there in lane 7 of Tolleson is really moved as she has touched her last wall and is coming into the final stretch with her freestyle stroke. Here she's coming to the wall for what will undoubtedly be her first recorded time in this particular season in Heat 1 of this 9-10 girls 100-yard IM, event 45. She touches with the time of 1:32.12. Here come the other girls in a tight pack here, racing to the wall, competing against themselves and each other on a beautiful fall Sunday morning at the PV November Open, day 3 of this meet in the 9-10 session. And we're already moving into Heat 2 here of this girls 9-10 100-yard IM in lane 1, Izzy Young of NCAP. Lane 2, Kimmy Renals of NCAP. Lane 3, Emma Hegenbarth of AAC. Lane 4, Eva Manis of AAC. Lane 5, Vivian Lagone of NCAP. Lane 6, Jenny Hugh of Tolleson. Lane 7, Bella Brand of NCAP. Lane 8, Emma Fuller of NCAP. They're up on the blocks, ready to go, and they're into the water. Starting out with the fly as they move down the pool here, looking to set down their own personal best, push themselves, while they also push their competitors. A good race shaping up here between these girls in Heat 2 of the 100-yard IM, event 45. The girls have all made their first turn and are into their backstrokes in this 100 IM. Coming to complete their first lap and moving into the breaststroke. As they touch the wall final time on the other side, they'll move into their freestyle and sprint down that last 25 yards to complete their 100 IM. so much credit to all the parents and volunteers who make these possible. So the kids, as hard as they practice, so many days a week, and for the parents to get them there. Ultimately, this is the kind of competition and development that helps develop our young people and also result in such strong showings for our nation at worldwide events, in particular the Olympics and the World Championships. All of it starts right here with these young athletes and their parents. And out in lane 8, it looks like we have Emma Fuller with a 1:31.59. Excellent time. In second, in lane 2, or in lane 1 rather, Izzy Young. We move into heat 3 of 6. In lane 1, Livy Jane Abbey of AAC. Lane 2, Annabelle Lorenzi of Tolleson. Lane 3, Kaya Shutakan of Tolleson. Lane 4, Yasmin Hussein of Tolleson. Lane 5, Kinsey Corbett of AAC. Lane 6, Emma Groper of AAC. Lane 7, Owen Lead of Tolleson. Lane 8, Matilda McCaskey of AAC. Here we go with heat 3 of 6. They're up on the blocks. They're ready to go. They're off into the water as they move into their 25 fly. Right off the wall. Moving to their first turn. As they hit the turn, they'll move into their backstroke. Such an amazing thing to watch them display all 4 of the fundamental strokes and disciplines here in swimming. As the girls make the turn, move into their backstroke. Tremendous work goes into getting these girls ready. Many, many thanks to all the coaches, especially, who put in so much time developing these young men and women, not into just great swimmers and great competitors and athletes, but into great young people who will serve others with their many gifts. The girls now are beginning to make the turn, moving into the breaststroke. The third leg here, the third 25 of this 100-yard IM. We're here in heat 3 of the PV November Open on day 3, the morning session, 9-10-year-olds. What a beautiful morning to be out. If you're out and about this morning, hopefully watching on your phone, amazing technology. You can watch your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, sons and daughters from anywhere in the world as they swim and compete, and you can cheer them on. They've moved into the freestyle now as the ladies come down this final stretch, racing to touch the wall first. And in lane 5, Kinsey Corbett in heat 3 of 6 touches the wall, 1:38.88. Heat 4, we're going to move into heat 4 here. In lane 1, Samantha Yelverton of NCAP. In lane 2, you'll see Tori Brown of NCAP. In lane 3, you'll see Rebecca Hungerford of AAC. In lane 4, Sloan Miller of AAC. In lane 5, Isabel Lee of Tolleson. In lane 6, Zara Yelwe of Tolleson. In lane 7, Gia Scandalous of Tolleson. And in lane 8, Delaney Plutz of NCAP. We're in heat 4 of 6 of this event 45 girls 9-10 100-yard IM. These ladies have already made their first turn. They're into their backstroke, coming down to touch the wall for the halfway point of this 100 IM. They'll move into their breaststroke. In lane 2, Tori Brown of NCAP. Looks like she's touched the wall first, just in front of Samantha Yelverton of NCAP. They're into their breaststroke, moving on down the wall to touch and make their final turn as they'll move to freestyle and race to touch and beat themselves and their competitors in this heat 4 of 6. Event 45, girls 9-10 100-yard IM. Tori has touched the wall and she is off and into her freestyle. as she's moving down the pool here. We'll see if Samantha can catch her. Not far behind, but it looks like Tori's going to come to the wall first and touch 125.02. Looks like a personal best for Tori, certainly in this season, improving quite a bit on her previously recorded time, and for Samantha as well. Great job to all these ladies, young ladies and gentlemen out here swimming this morning, to all their parents and coaches. We're going to move now into heat 5 of 6 of the girls 9-10 100-yard IM. In lane 5, or in lane 1, Emmy Romhilt of Tolleson. Lane 2, Annabelle Den of AAC. In lane 3, Jai Johnson of NCAP. In lane 4, Emily Shoemaker of NCAP. In lane 5, Brooklyn McKinley of NCAP. In lane 6, Hillary Mitchell of AAC. In lane 7, Charlotte Blumenschein of Tolleson. In lane 8, Nora Naus of NCAP. Up, just a little break here. Pause. Girls reset. They're taking their marks. They're up on the blocks, and they're into the water. They're off into the fly. The first leg of this 100 IM. As they come to touch the wall, they're moving to their backstroke. Looks like a tight race shaping up here in heat 5 of 6 for this girls 100-yard IM. We got quite the race as they touch the wall. Looks like in lane 3, Jai Johnson might have just out-touched. But it's real close between her and Emily Shoemaker and Brooklyn McGinley as they come to the turn and they touch the wall and move into their breaststroke. It looks like it. Brooklyn McGinley here in lane 5, just out-touching. Oh, maybe Nora Mouse out there in lane 8. 41.88 to the wall as they're racing down the pool. Here they come to the final turn as they move into their freestyle. It looks like in lane 3, Jai Johnson maybe has separated herself just a little bit as she moves into the freestyle. These ladies racing down the pool, competing against themselves and their competitors as they try to lay down personal bests and also beat their competitors. Indeed, Jai Johnson with a time of 1:29.70 coming in first, followed closely by Emily Shoemaker. Our final heat here, heat 6 of 6 of the 100-yard IM. Girls, event 45, 9-10-year-olds. Lane 1, Callie Hirsch of NCAP. Lane 2, Taylor Bondarenko of Tolleson. Lane 3, Eva Plazer. Lane 4, Reagan Marm of NCAP. Lane 5, Abby Minar of AAC. Lane 6, Emerson Anito of NCAP. Lane 7, Hadley Simpson of NCAP. And lane 8, Kensington White of NCAP. And these girls are off into this 25 fly of the 100-yard IM. And they're already at the halfway point of this 100 IM, moving into their breaststroke. Close race here between Abby Minar in lane 5 and Reagan Marm in lane 4. As they touch and make the final turn, they move into their freestyle. Moving down very quickly. Looks like Reagan Marm here in lane 4 of NCAP, just outstretching Abby Minar in lane 5. What a race. 1:15.74 from Miss Marm. Great job by these ladies here as we finish their 100-yard IM, and we move into event 46. The boys 9-10 100-yard IM. We're in heat 1 here. In lane 3, Dylan Clofton of AAC. Lane 2, Luke Logston of AAC. Lane Lane 5, Ian Rios of InCap. Lane 6, Ethan Berkowitz of Tolleson. They're up and on the blocks, and they're into the water. These boys in this first of 5 heats for the boys 9, 10, 100-yard IM. Looks like Ian Rios made the turn first here of InCap. Followed closely by Dylan Clifton, of AAC, as they come to the halfway point here and move into their breaststroke, transitioning from the backstroke to the breaststroke. As they finish this final turn, they're going to move into their freestyle in this 100-yard IM and race down to see who can touch the wall first. A pretty close race here between Ian Rios of InCap and Dylan Clifton of AAC in lane 3. Tremendous effort by all these boys and girls, these young ladies and gentlemen, as they push themselves to personal bests, even in just finishing all 4 disciplines in an IM like this. Here we have them coming to the wall. Mr. Rios finishing in first in this first heat of 5. Followed closely by Mr. Clifton here in lane 3. What a wonderful morning again if you're joining us, as Luke Logsden from AAC comes into the wall. Tremendous effort by him to finish. In heat 2 of 5, in lane 1, we have Kellen Kuo of Tolleson. Lane 2, James Balser of AAC. Lane 3, Finn Lapham of AAC. Lane 4, Desmond Brown of AAC. Lane 5, Stephen Boyd of InCap. Lane 6, Alex Truitt of InCap. Lane 7, Blaze Lapine of Tolleson. Lane 8, Dixon Thorpe of Tolleson. And they're off and into the water, into the fly. As they really get out there, they're moving down the pool for this first leg of this 100 IM. Boys 9, 10, 100 IM as they touch the wall and transition to the backstroke. Looks like Alex Truitt up there in lane 6 of InCap is really laying down a blistering pace as he races to the turn for his final lap, moving into his breaststroke. When they get to the wall from the breaststroke, they'll hit the wall and transition to their freestyle and race down for the last 25. Most of the boys now into their breaststroke in this third leg of the 100 IM. Mr. Truitt out there in lane 6 of InCap really setting down a blistering pace as he moves out in this heat 2 of 5. Boys make the turn and move into their freestyle, racing down to the end. We'll have to see what happens here in this heat. Looks like Mr. Truitt got out to a great start with his first 25 fly. And indeed, he touches the wall 132.96. A great time. James Balser in lane 2, 139.08. And Kalen Kuo in third here in heat 2 of 5. Great job to all these boys this morning as they come in and touch the wall, finish their 100 IMs. In heat 3 of 5, lane 1, Danny Sutton of Tolleson. Lane 2, Alexander Perez of Tolleson. Lane 3, Jackson Polsinelli of AAC. Lane 4, Jameson Mount of InCap. Lane 5, Christian Chang of Tolleson. Lane 6, Reed Velasco of InCap. Lane 7, Amir Shafarifi of InCap. Lane 8, Arjun Pagararo of Tolleson. man, if you're not paying attention, these ladies and gentlemen just fly down the pool. They'll be through their first 50 before you even look up if you aren't paying close attention. Great morning here. Great November morning as you came out. Nice, cool, crisp morning as you walked out this morning and drink your first cup of coffee to watch some swimming from wherever you are in the world. These boys are already in their backstroke in heat 3 of 5 of this boys 100-yard IM event 46 of the PV November Open. Here, day 3, session 1 of day 3, and the 9-10 age group of this meet. As they've moved into their breaststroke, they're going to hit the final turn and they'll race into their freestyle all the way down that last 25 to try to set a personal best while they're also beating their competitors. The boys have mostly made their turn now. Looking out here in lane 6, it looks like Reed Velasco leading the way in this heat 3 of 5. Indeed, Reed touches the wall 1:39.76, a great time for him, followed by Mr. Mount 1:35.59 there in lane 4. As all the boys come to the wall in heat 3 of 5, we're going to move on to heat 4 of 5 in this boys 9-10 100-yard IM event 46. Heat 4, lane 1, Sawyer Blaze of NCAP. Lane 2, Asher Cameron of AAC. Lane 3, Jacob Rich of Tolleson. Lane 4, Eli Shee of Tolleson. Lane 5, Austin Schroeder of NCAP. Lane 6, Michael Flaherty of Tolleson. Lane 7, Ravi Martinez of AAC. And lane 8, Brett Conjura of AAC. And they're off and into the water, into their first fly as they come to the turn. They'll move into their backstroke. Here the boys come as they come to the turn, finishing the halfway point of this IM. This is quite a close heat here as they move into their breaststroke, making their way on down the pool. When they touch for this final turn, they move into their freestyle. We've got Eli Shee in lane 4 of Tolleson touching first at the halfway point, but still plenty of room for all of these boys to make up that distance, pushing themselves and their competitors here as they race one another and race against themselves for their own personal best. It looks like Eli, though, finishing out strong with this freestyle. Eli finishing in first, but perhaps just a soft touch on that pad there. Hard to see what his time was. Mr. Schroeder there, just above him, coming in second, 1:35.41. Quite a close race there. Heat 5, our final heat. Heat 5 of 5 in this boys 9-10 100-yard IM. Lane 1, Walter Pekowski of Tolleson. Lane 2, Timothy Friend of AAC. Lane 3, Charlie Hartman of AAC. Lane 4, Preston Roll of NCAP. Lane 5, Evan Andrews of Tolleson. Lane 6, Janu Okolo of NCAP. Lane 7, Sebastian Cardona of Tolleson. Lane 8, Nick Francella of NCAP. This, as you might well know, is the fastest, at least the boys who have laid down the fastest time so far this season for the 100-yard IM. So we expect a good race here as the boys push themselves and others. Out here in lane 4, Preston Roll. Looks like he made it to the turn first as the boys have moved into their backstroke. And Preston coming to the wall first, followed closely, it looks like, by Evan Andrews. Making the turn into their, at the halfway point, into their breaststroke. As they come to the wall, it looks like we have quite the race shaping up between Preston, Evan, Jamu here in lanes 4 to 6. They're really racing down. Also looks like down here in lane 2, Timothy Friend making up some time here in AAC as they come to the wall. As they touch and make the turn, looks like Jamu might have just out-touched, and they're into their freestyle, and they are moving down this pool. These young men and women put in a lot of work. Great job to them as they're racing to the finish. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have a photo finish here, it looks like. Yes, as Preston Royal finishes that out, just barely out-touching Mr. Colo in lane 6. We're moving on to event 47, the girls 9-10 50-yard breaststroke. In lane 2, Julia McCarthy of AAC. In lane 3, Savannah Foley of AAC. In lane 4, Molly Fahiri of AAC. In lane 5, Amara Minor of AAC. In lane 6, Alexandra Pastanika of AAC. In lane 7, Tia Vargas Collins. And the girls are already in the pool. Great job to these young men and women as they compete here this morning, putting all that practice to good work as they compete against themselves and their competitors. Many thanks again to the meet officials. What a glorious fall morning this morning for this PV November Open on day 3, Sunday, in the 9-10 morning session of this meet program. We're already into event 47, heat 1 of 6 of the girls 9-10 50-yard breaststroke. As they've made the turn, the girls coming down the pike. It looks like here in lane 4, Molly Fahiri leading the way. In lane 2, not far behind, Julia McCarthy of AAC. As these girls look to lay down their best times. All right, we're going to move quickly into heat 2 of 6 of the girls 9-10 50-yard breaststroke. In lane 1, Isla McGuire of AAC. Lane 2, Emma Higginbarth of AAC. Lane 3, Gilly Krogan of Tolleson. Lane 4, Emma Azarm of Tolleson. Lane 5, Mary Pickens of AAC. Lane 6, Sam Glass of Tolleson. Lane 7, Vivian Snow of AAC. Lane 8, Sasha Hurtado of Tolleson. And they're off and in the pool. Down the first leg of this 50-yard breast. In lane 3 here, Gilly really moving out quickly in this 50-yard breaststroke. Touching the wall and making the turn. These ladies put in a lot of work throughout the season, constantly trying to compete against themselves and others to improve their best times. Gilly putting down a blistering pace here this morning in the second heat of the 9-10 50 breast, 39:40. Looks like here in lane 2, Emma Hagenbarth gonna come in second for the second heat, 52:51. A great time. As these girls finish up here in heat 2 of 6, heat 3 of 6 right on the horizon. The 50s just fly on by. If you're not paying attention, you'll miss them, that's for sure. In lane 1, Owen Lead of Tolleson. Lane 2, Kinsey Corbett of AAC. Lane 3, Eva Manis of AAC. Lane 4, Livy Jane Abbey of AAC. Lane 5, Gia Scandalous of Tolleson. Lane 6, Tate Larrabee of Tolleson. Lane 7, Emma Groper of AAC. Lane 8, Anna Soligan of NCAP. And these girls are off heat 3 of 6. We're almost halfway through this girls 9-10 50-yard breaststroke event 47. On day 3 of the PV November Open this morning, a great, wonderful fall morning here in the Northern Virginia area. As the girls come to the turn of this 50 breast. Most of the girls now, all the girls now have made the turn. Looks like out in lane 7, Emma Groper leading the way from AAC. Here they come, down to the wall. Emma moving quickly, but Gia Scandalous making up some room there in lane 6. Looks like Emma might have had a light touch there. Gia following close behind her in lane 5. Heat 4 of 6. In lane 1, Juliana Weiss of AAC. In lane 2, Vivian Lagone of NCAP. Lane 3, Nora Knaus of NCAP. Lane 4, Izzy Young of NCAP. Lane 5, Ella Biggs of AAC. Lane 6, Peyton Elam of NCAP. Lane 7, Yasmin Hussein of Tolleson. And lane 8, Zara Oyewole of Tolleson. They're off and in the pool. Peyton Elam in lane 6 out with a quick start, but it looks like in lane 3, Nora Knaus made up some room there from NCAP as they come to the turn, and they'll complete their final 25. Hard to tell exactly who touched first. Quite a race shaping up here between a few of these competitors as they race against themselves and others. Trying to lay down personal best times. It looks like out there in lane 6, Peyton Elam putting on a nice time. In lane 3, Nora Knaus trying to chase her down. Not quite going to have the room to do it though. A great race by these young ladies. As we move into heat 5 of 6 here in the girls 9-10 50-yard breaststroke. In lane 1, Emily Moore of NCAP. Lane 2, Annabelle Den of AAC. Lane 3, Mathilde McCoskey of AAC. Lane 4, Emerson Ianito of NCAP. Lane 5, Diane Shin of NCAP. Lane 6, Emily Shoemaker of NCAP. Lane 7, Hadley Simpson of NCAP. Lane 8, Alex Bonure of NCAP. And they're off and into the water in this heat 5 of 6 of the girls 9-10 50-yard breaststroke. They're racing out the gate there. In lane 5, Diane Shin, you can see down at the bottom the lane assignments and their times off the block at the right. They're coming to the wall. It looks like Miss Shin touched first, is putting some space between her and her closest competitors in this heat. Wonderful job by all these young ladies and gentlemen as they're out here competing, trying to lay down personal best times, improve on what they've done previously. Diane really pulling it out here. It looks like in lane 2 though. And lane 4, we've got a good race for second as well as lane 7, and it's real close. Miss Ianito coming in second there. Great race here in heat 5 of 6. On to heat 6 of the girls 50-yard breast. Lane 1, Jai Johnson. Lane 2, Madison Woodward. Lane 3, Riley Hahn. Lane 4, Eva Plaza. Lane 5, Vivian Faturos. Lane 6, Michelle Baturdine. Lane 7, Kinsey Alex. Lane 8, Tori Brown of NCAP. Lane assignments down there at the bottom in case you didn't catch it from me. If you're not paying attention, you will miss some of the action here. Quite the race shaping up as they are already almost down to the turn of this 50 breast in this last heat. Heat 6 of 6 as we move into the boys next. They've made the turn. Hard to tell again exactly who touched first. It's going to be a tight race here. Out in lane 4, it looked like Eva Plaza, by my telling, might just have a slight nose. And indeed, she comes to the wall first, just in front of Michelle. We're going to move into the boys. Event 48, boys, 9-10 50-yard breaststroke. Heat 1 of 6 in lane 3, Andrew Wisenhant of NCAP. Lane 4, Finn Latham of AAC. Lane 5, Benjamin Miller of AAC. Lane 6, Ethan Berkowitz of Tolleson. Boy, these races move fast. If you're not paying attention, you will miss some of the action. I tell you what, this boys 9-10 50 breast, we're already into it in heat 1 of 6. Looks like we're going to have a mano-a-mano race between Mr. Wisenant and Mr. Latham. An NCAP AAC mano-a-mano race as they're moving down the pool to finish the first leg of this 50 breast. They've touched. Oh, they're super close, tight right there at the wall. It's going to be quite the race as they try to race both themselves and their competitor here in heat 1 of 6 of the 9-10 50-yard breast. And they're moving down the pool. Here we come down the stretch. These boys are neck and neck. Let's see who's going to touch first. awful hard to tell from up here. Mr. Lapham comes in first from AAC with 54.47. Heat 2 now of 6 in lane 1. Danny Sutton of Tolleson. Lane 2, Harris Mahmood of AAC. Lane 3, James Balser of AAC. Lane 4, Enzo Popescu of Tolleson. Lane 5, Luke Logsden of AAC. Lane 6, Connor Clark of NCAP. Lane 7, Spencer Riesinger of AAC. Lane 8, Daniel Rokart of AAC. They're up on the blocks, getting reset. And they're down and ready to start. And they're off and into the water in this 50-yard breast. Here they go, another tight race it looks like shaping up. Looks like James Balser in lane 3 and Enzo Popescu in lane 4 having a close race. Mr. Balser separating himself just a little bit. There's a close race here between lane 4 and lane 5, Enzo and Luke, as they come to the wall and touch, move into the last 25 of this 50-yard breast. Men's 9-10, heat 2 of 6 in event 48 on a beautiful Sunday morning in the fall here. What a beautiful, beautiful facility we have here that they're allowing us to use, as these boys try to lay down personal best times, out racing each other and themselves. James Balser in with the 50.72 in first for this heat 2 of 6 50-yard breaststroke. Enzo Popescu coming in second here in this heat. And we're already off and on to heat 3. Heat 3 of this boys 9-10 50-yard breaststroke. In lane 1, Sam Parker of Tolleson. Lane 2, Alexander Perez of Tolleson. Lane 3, Blaze Lapine of Tolleson. Lane 4, Brand Granados Korsmonk of AAC. Lane 5, Alex Truitt of NCAP. Lane 6, Ravi Martinez of AAC. Lane 7, Dixon Thorpe of Tolleson. Lane 8, Jack Agnew of NCAP. What a wonderful morning. The boys are already up and on the blocks ready to go. And they're into the water for the first leg of this 50-yard breaststroke. Looked like a great start there. If you can't tell, down in the bottom of your screen are the lane assignments. Out there in lane 6, it looks like Ravi Martinez, and right next to him in lane 5, Alex Truitt setting up for a good race here in heat 3 of this men's 9-10 50-yard breast. They've touched the wall and they're off back on this final 25 of the 50-yard breast. It looks like Ravi got just a bit of an edge there on the turn. We've got down here in lane 2, Alexander Perez really pushing it out though. Looks like he might catch him out there. Hard to tell from this angle exactly, but it looks like it might be quite the photo finish. Alexander Perez really pushing into the touch. Not quite able to catch him, but quite the race here in heat 3 of 6 for this boys 9-10 50-yard breasts. We're going to move on to heat 4 of the 50-yard breast here as these boys come in, laying down their personal best times in heat 3. Great job here by all these boys. All the work that these young ladies and gentlemen put into this, how much they push themselves, the discipline it takes to practice constantly and get out here and compete. Heat 4 of 6, moving into heat 4 of 6 of this event 48, boys 9-10 50-yard breaststroke. In lane 1, David Marley of NCAP. Lane 2, Kalen Kuo of Tolleson. Lane 3, Brandon Patton of NCAP. Lane 4, Jameson Mount of NCAP. Lane 5, Amir Sharifi of NCAP. Lane 6, Liam Ross of AAC. Lane 7, Keenan Osbeck of AAC. Lane 8, Stephen Boyd of NCAP. And these boys are off into the first leg of this 50-yard breast. Looks like out there in lane 4, Jameson Mount got a great start off the wall. Really racing out to a short lead. But here in lane 3, Brandon Patton putting down some time, looking to catch up to his NCAP competitor there. Simply amazing to me the amount of work that goes in. But we've got out here in lane 7, looks like Keenan Osbeck from AAC really made up some time as they hit the turn and he really shot off that wall. In lane 3, Brandon Patton trying to out-touch him. They're racing down to the end of this 50 breast in heat 4 of 6. Mr. Osbeck with the time of 49.83. Just beating it out. Quite a turn he had there. We're going to move into heat 5 of 6 here of the boys 50-yard breaststroke. In lane 1, Arjun Pegoraro of Tolleson. Lane 2, Quinn Moynihan of INCAP. Lane 3, Jackson Polsinelli of AAC. Lane 4, Nick Francella of INCAP. Lane 5, Ellis Baker of INCAP. Lane 6, Christian Chang of Tolleson. Lane 7, Ezra Intenier of INCAP. Lane 8, Sawyer Blaze of INCAP. Boys are up on the blocks, and they are out and off for this quick and fast 50-yard breaststroke. Lane 5, Ellis Baker leading the way, but in lane 4, Nick Francella just behind him, as well as in lane 2, Quinn Moynihan. All of INCAP as they make the turn. These boys are racing. It's shaping up to be a good race too. Out in lanes 4 and 5 between Nick Francella and Ellis Baker. Also in lane 2, looks like Mr. Polsinelli making up some ground here, really moving down the pool. As they come to the wall, Mr. Francella, 46.12. We're now going to move into our final heat of this boys 9-10 50-yard breaststroke. Lane 1, Austin Schroeder of INCAP. Lane 2, Lucas Pinheiro of AAC. Lane 3, Vicus Gonzalez of AAC. Lane 4, Timothy Friend of AAC. Lane 5, Jamu Okolo of INCAP. Lane 6, Miles Ledford of AAC. Lane 7, Reed Velasco of INCAP. Lane 8, Jansky Aldonis of AAC. And the boys are already off halfway down, almost to the turn. By the time I finish announcing their names, you'll notice down the bottom of your screen the lane assignments as well as the times off the block. These boys really moving down. Another tight race in this final leg and final heat of the men's 9-10 50 breast. Really moving down. Wow, what a tight race. So awesome to watch these boys compete against one another and themselves. Laid down a time of 44.35. It looks like Timothy Friend beats Mr. Okolo to the wall. We're now going to move into event 49, the girls 9-10 100-yard backstroke, giving me a little more time to catch my breath in these 100-yard backstrokes as opposed to the 50s. In heat 1 of this backstroke, Bella Brand in lane 1 of INCAP. Lane 2, Annabelle Lorenzi of Tolleson. Lane 3, Brooklyn McGinley of INCAP. Lane 4, Melania Havrileski of Tolleson. Lane 5, Juliana Weiss of AAC. Lane 6, Vivian Faturos of AAC. Lane 7, Julia McCarthy of AAC. Lane 8, Rebecca Hungerford. And the girls are off in heat 1 of 6 of the girls 9-10 100-yard backstroke. Event 49 here this morning on a glorious Sunday morning. Day 3 of the PV November Open. What a beautiful facility we have here in Prince William County that we're able to use. Many thanks to all the officials and volunteers that make this possible. The parents who constantly push their children to do better and do difficult things. To all the coaches who help develop them into great young men and women. Not just great swimmers, developing the discipline that's necessary to really become a member of society who is out there serving others with their skills and talents. We're now 3/4 of the way through this 100 back. The girls moving so quickly, giving me hardly a break to catch a breath as they come to the final wall here. They're making the turn. It looks like they're in lane 3. Brooklyn McGinley of INCAP just barely edging out Melania Havrileski in lane 4, who's making up some time, trying to push her to the wall as these ladies move quickly, pushing themselves and their competitors. It looks like Miss Havrileski might get her by a nose, and she does. Wow. What an amazing time laid down by these girls. Great race here in heat 1 of 6 of this 100-yard backstroke by these ladies. We're already on to heat 2 in lane 1, Kinsey Corbett of AAC. Lane 1, Kinsey Corbett of AAC. Lane 2, Tate Larrabee of Tolleson. Lane 3, Natalie Sotilli of AAC. Lane 4, Anna Huggins of Tolleson. Lane 5, Sam Glass of Tolleson. Lane 6, Gilly Krogan of Tolleson. Lane 7, Gia Scandalous of Tolleson. Lane 8, Peyton Elam of NCAP. And the girls are off and into their backstroke. Gilly Krogan out there in lane 6, really off to a great start. Tight pack behind her though. Gilly racing to the halfway point of this race. Up there in lane 8 though. Not to be unmentioned, Peyton Elam from NCAP racing to touch the wall as well. Not far behind her, Anna Huggins of AAC, or of Tolleson, pardon me, in lane 4. As these young ladies come to the final turn, putting all that work to the test that they've used at practice, demonstrating the skill not only of themselves, but of their coaches to develop them and help them improve and push them to be better, and the commitment of their parents as well. We've got Gilly Krogan out here in lane 6 with the time of 1:16.64, coming in first for this third heat of 6. Second heat of 6 for the girls' 9-10 100-yard backstroke. Great job by these ladies, all of them just finishing these races. We're already halfway through this morning's session 9-10 program. All the work that goes into it, the amount of exhaustion by this point of the race, depending on what else these young ladies have swum at this point, and even just to finish a 100-yard swim period. Quite an accomplishment in my book. Not something you'd put me in the pool and ask me to do any day. Great job by these ladies in heat 2 of 6. We're moving on to heat 3 in lane 1, Kaya Shutakon of Tolleson. Lane 2, Emmy Romhilt of Tolleson. Lane 3, Callie Hirsch of NCAP. Lane 4, Yasmin Hussein of Tolleson. Lane 5, Ainsley Lamont of AAC. Lane 6, Eliza Gustafson of Tolleson. Lane 7, Charlotte Blumenstein of Tolleson. Lane 8, Sienna Frubini of AAC. Down at the bottom of your screen as these girls are off and into the first leg, you'll see the lane assignments and the names in case you missed my announcements. I know it's hard even in these hundreds. If you blink, you'll miss some of the action. Quite the race shaping up here as the girls come to the first, the halfway point of this 100-yard backstroke. We've got Callie Hirsch in lane 3, touching the wall first. Closely behind her from AAC, Ainsley Lamont in lane 5. Really looking to shaping up to be a good race down this final 25 as they push each other to set down personal best in this women's 9-10 100-yard backstroke. Callie has touched the wall. Callie Hirsch of NCAP has touched the walls into her final leg of this 100-yard backstroke. She's separating herself just a bit from Ainsley Lamont of AAC up there in lane 5. Looks like she's going to come to the wall first. And indeed she touches with a time of 1:21.36. Miss Lamont right behind her, time of 1:25.78, as the rest of this field in heat 3 of 6 of the girls' 100-yard backstroke brings it on in to the final. Moving in shortly here to heat 4 of 6 as Kaya Shutakon of Tolleson finishes out her 100-yard backstroke. Great job to all these competitors for racing and completing these races. Heat 4 of 6 in lane 1, Kimmy Rennells of INCAP. Lane 2, Chloe Rosenthal of Tolleson. Lane 3, Jenny Hugh of Tolleson. Lane 4, Bridget Hoffman of AAC. Lane 5, Sarah Kessler of Tolleson. Lane 6, Esther Dagestan of AAC. Lane 7, Mary Pickens of AAC. And lane 8, Serafina Sawyer of INCAP. The girls are in the water, up and set to go. And off they go. Always exciting to watch those starts and those turns. We're here on day 3 of the PV November Open on a beautiful fall morning. A little bit cooler than it was the last couple mornings, that's for sure. I think a welcome adjustment from almost 80 degrees in mid-November yesterday here in the Northern Virginia area. These girls in the 100-yard backstroke, heat 4 of 6, coming to the halfway point. They'll go down, make their final turn, and come into the home stretch. In lane 5, Sarah Kessler of Tolleson leading the way in this heat, setting some distance between herself and this pack, but just behind her, a good race shaping up for second and third place among multiple competitors. Reminder, these girls are racing as much against themselves and their own personal best as they are racing against each other, though it always helps to have a friend pushing you, doesn't it? As you try to do something hard. All these young men and women pushing themselves. Not an easy thing to swim 25, 50, 100 yards, whatever it is you're swimming, as fast as you can with as little breath as possible to make up speed. Miss Kessler here coming in first, setting out a great time, 1:30.90. Great race shaping up for second. Looks like down there in lane 1, Kimmy Rennells is gonna get it from INCAP, 1:43.97, followed closely by Miss Jenny Hugh in lane 3 of Tolleson. All these ladies coming into finish, quite a close pack there in heat 4 of 6 as we move into heat 5. Lane 1, Sasha Hurtado of Tolleson. Lane 2, Isabel Dennis of AAC. Lane 3, Tia Vargas Collins of Tolleson. Lane 4, Tori Brown of INCAP. Lane 5, Zara Oyewole of Tolleson. Lane 6, Joanna Liu of Tolleson. Lane 7, Emma Azarm of Tolleson. Lane 8, Jai Johnson of INCAP. And they're off. Just as I finish, if you'll notice, the lane assignments and names down in the bottom of your screen along with the times off the blocks for these young ladies. Emma getting out to a great start. But here in lane 4, Tori Brown really pushing the pace down the first 25 of this 100-yard back. They'll come to the turn here at the halfway point, make one more lap as they try to lay down personal bests, pushing themselves and the other swimmers around them. Out there in lane 8, Jay Johnson looks like she's leading the pack for second. It looks like a good race shaping up again for second place, with multiple swimmers touching the wall in real quick succession, getting off the wall fast. Tori has really set down a good pace, really out there fast, coming to make her final touch and go into the tail end of this final leg of this 100-yard backstroke for these women, 9-10. Tori in INCAP. You can hear her coach almost on the over the microphone, encouraging her to finish out this great race, laying down a great time as Tori comes to the wall. In first place of the seat at 1:23.73. Hard to tell exactly. Looks like in lane 6 we're going to have Joanna Liu coming to the wall second, indeed, 1:37.10. Followed closely in third place in lane 2 by Miss Isabel Dennis of AAC. Great job by these ladies in heat 5 of 6 as they finish out their 100-yard backstrokes. Emma Azarm of Tolleson fighting hard to come to the wall. trying to put down a personal best. And now we're into the final heat, heat 6 of 6 of this girls' 100-yard backstroke. Lane 1, Emma Fuller of NCAP. Lane 2, Kinsey Alex of NCAP. Lane 3, Alex Benure of NCAP. Lane 4, Charlotte Schotter of NCAP. Lane 5, Hannah Demisi of NCAP. Lane 6, Madison Woodward of NCAP. Lane 7, Kensington White of NCAP. Lane 8, Samantha Yelverton of NCAP. They're up on the blocks, ready to go. And all NCAP last heat here we have. Oh, looks like we might have a tight race in this last heat. Out there in lane 4, Charlotte Schotter off to a good start down this first leg of 4 in the 100-yard back. Looks like she came to the wall first. Tough to tell sometimes though, particularly to this untrained observer's eye, but now she's putting some pace between herself and the rest of the pack here. Out in lane 6, looks like Madison Woodward leading the pack for second. Again, quite a tight race for second place. As they come to the wall, make the turn, hit the halfway point, move on down to leg 3 of 4 in this 100-yard back. Charlotte really putting it out there. Lane 2, Kinsey Alex, though, really pushing it up, maybe making up some ground there on Charlotte, putting some space between herself and the race for third. Charlotte there in lane 4, already into the final leg of this race. In lane 2, Kinsey Alex looking to chase her down as she can. Not a lot of room left here in this last heat. 6 of 6 of the girls' 100-yard backstroke as Charlotte comes to the wall first with the time of 1:16.39. Quite a great time. And in second, Miss Kinsey Alex in lane 2. In third, Miss Demisi Hannah in lane 5 with an excellent time. Great race by this all NCAP heat here. Now we're moving on to event 50 on day 3, Sunday morning of this meet morning session for the 9-10-year-olds. Boys 9-10, event 50, 100-yard backstroke, heat 1 of 4. In lane 2, Dylan Clifton of AAC. Lane 3, Stephen Boyd of NCAP. Lane 4, Eli Shee of Tolleson. Lane 5, Sebastian Cardona of Tolleson. And lane 6, Kavan Koopman of Tolleson. See lane assignments down at the bottom and the times off the blocks. Good race shaping up here between Eli and Kavan in lanes 4 and 6, it looks like, both of Tolleson. Can't say thank you enough to everyone who supports youth swimming and all youth sports really. All the coaches, parents, the kids who put in the time and effort and work. Quite a hard discipline swimming is. A lot of work goes into it just to learn the strokes. Heck, to swim 25 or 50 yards. Have you gone and done it recently? It's a lot of work. Full body workout. As these boys make the turn into the last leg of the 100-yard back. Looks like Eli's put a little bit of space between himself and Kavan there in lane 6. Heat 1 of 4 of the event 50, boys 9-10, 100-yard backstroke. And Eli coming to the wall with a time of 1:35.95. We have 4 heats of the boys 9-10 100-yard backstroke here. Great job by all of these gentlemen. Stephen Boyd of NCAP comes into the wall, finishing the 100-yard backstroke. Quite a great job by all of these gentlemen, young gentlemen. Moving on to heat 2 of 4. In lane 1, Christian Chang of Tolleson. Lane 2, Samson Myers of AAC. Lane 3, Sam Parker of Tolleson. Lane 4, Arjun Pagoraro of Tolleson. Lane 5, Ethan Berkowitz of Tolleson. Lane 6, Liam Ross of AAC. Lane 7, Ali Dagestan of AAC, lane 8. Weston Caulfield of AAC. And these boys are off into this 100-yard backstroke. No rest for the weary here this morning on day 3 of this wonderful PV November Open. Nice crisp morning as these boys in heat 2 of 4 of the 100-yard backstroke come to the final turn to finish their 100 backstrokes, touch, and get moving back down to the pool, right down the stretch run. Samson Myers of AAC leading the way in this heat. Samson Myers leading the way in that heat. Great race for all these boys, laying down great times, 1:45.65 in the 100-yard backstroke. Ali Dagestan working hard out there in lane 7, pushing himself to the wall here in this difficult discipline, the 100-yard back. You think you're laying on your back. How hard can it be? You can breathe the whole time. I trust you. You should go try to swim a backstroke. Not an easy thing to do. Water flying in your face as your hands come up. You think you can take a breath, and instead you just get a mouthful of chlorinated water. Moving into heat 3 of 4 of this boys 9, 10, 100-yard backstroke. Lane 1, Will Coleman of AAC. Lane 2, Kellen Kuo of Tolson. Lane 3, Vicus Gonzalez of AAC. Lane 4, Lucas Pinheiro of AAC. Lane 5, Arins Achanlu of NCAP. Lane 6, Quinn Moynihan of NCAP. Lane 7, Jacob Rich of Tolson. Lane 8, Aaron Richards of Tolson. Second to the last heat of these boys 100 back. Good race shaping up here between pretty much all the boys here, right in it, right in the thick of it. It's anyone's race at this point as they come to the halfway point of this race. Arins Acholonu of NCAP in lane 5, touching first at the halfway point. But look to be catching up to him. It looks like Mr. Quinn Moynihan also, Vicus Gonzalez of AAC down there in lane 3. But again, Acho Lanu in lane 5 with a great push off the wall. But down here in lane 1, we've got Will Coleman looking to race it out. A great race for first and second. It looks like Mr. Coleman just barely beats him to the wall. Hard to tell there, maybe a soft top touch by Acholanu. Mr. Gonzalez there in lane 3 as well. Quite the finish there in heat 3 of 4 as these final few boys come to the wall in this 100-yard backstroke. boys 9, 10, 100-yard backstroke final heat. Heat 4 of 4. Lane 1, Ezra Itzmeyer of INCAP. Lane 2, Bryn Patton of INCAP. Lane 3, Timothy Friend of AAC. Lane 4, Charlie Hartman of AAC. Lane 5, Brandon Ty of INCAP. Lane 6, Michael Flaherty of Tolleson. Lane 7, David Marley of INCAP. Lane 8, Brett Condra of AAC. Another good race shaping up here as the boys come to the halfway point of this 100-yard backstroke. It looks like Brandon Ty out there in lane 5, just out touching Charlie Hartman in lane 4 and Ezra Nair in lane 1. Here comes Brandon to the wall, making the final turn in lane 5. Charlie Hartman from AAC, though, in lane 4, pushing them all the way as they really race down this final stretch. Good race here again for first place in this final heat of the 100 backstroke, and it looks like Charlie just out touching Brandon and Ezra in lane 1. Great race there. Great job by these young ladies and gentlemen, all pushing themselves to compete firstly against themselves and improve themselves for the sake of their teams and others, and then also competing against those other swimmers in the pool with them. We're moving into event 51 on a beautiful fall morning here, day 3, morning session of the 9-10 session of the PV November Open. Heat 1 of the girls 9-10 200-yard freestyle, event 51, heat 1 of 4. In lane 1, Chloe Rosenthal of Tolleson. Lane 2, Anna Huggins of Tolleson. Lane 3, Sarah Kessler of Tolleson. Lane 4, Callie Hirsch of INCAP. Lane 5, Emmy Romhelt of Tolleson. Lane 6, Charlotte Blumenschein of Tolleson. And lane 7, Delaney Plutz of INCAP. The girls are already off down the pool, making their first turn. That's how fast they are down the pool here. You'll note the names and lane assignments are in the bottom right of your screen. If I haven't said enough, I'll say it again. Many thanks to the many officials, volunteers, parents, coaches, everyone who makes these things possible. Here we are. They're going to come down and finish the second lap of this 200 free to the halfway point. Out there in lane 4, Callie Hirsch of INCAP leading the way in this first heat of 4, girls 9-10 200-yard freestyle, event 51. Callie hitting the halfway point with a time of 1:23.38. Close behind her, good race for second between Sarah Kessler in lane 3 and Emmy Romhelt in lane 5. Or rather for third place. Delaney Plutz a little bit out in front of them in lane 7. It looks like in lane 2, Anna Huggins working to chase her down. Not sure she's going to get there. Great work by all these ladies as they move into the final lap of this 200 free. Anna's still working to close there on Anna working to close there on Callie Hirsch as they're coming down the final stretch. Out there in lane 7, Delaney Plutz pushing to try to press Anna for second place in this first heat as these girls race. Quite a race into the finish here in this final 25 as Miss Hirsch finishes in first, followed by Miss Huggins in second and Miss Plutz in third. All these girls, amazing young ladies, great job finishing out this race. Long race it is, 200-yard freestyle. Just a little bit of time for me to catch my breath, maybe get a sip of water. I hope you're enjoying your morning coffee as you watch this day 3 morning session 9-10 boys and girls session of the PV November Open on a beautiful fall morning. Moving into heat 2 of 4 in the girls 9-10 200-yard freestyle. In lane 1, Annabelle Den of AAC. Lane 2, Rebecca Hungerford of AAC. Lane 3, Isabella Lee of Tolleson. Lane 4, Amara Miner of AAC. Lane 5, Natalie Sotilli of AAC. Lane 6, Hadley Simpson of NCAP. Lane 7, Nora Hnaus of NCAP. And lane 8, Emma Fuller of NCAP. They're off and down to the first turn. Full pool, all lanes filled here. In heat 2 of 4 for the girls 200-yard freestyle. Lane 6 and lane 7, Hadley Simpson, Nora Hnaus, both of NCAP out there leading the way as they come to finish the first of 4 laps in this 200 free. Lane 8, Emma Fuller not far behind. All these girls really amazing work. As they come here to the halfway point of this 200 free, finishing their second of 4 laps. Miss Hnaus down there in lane 7 leading the way, followed closely by her teammates. Miss Fuller and Miss Simpson, lane 6 and 8. You can see the lane assignments on the bottom right of your screen along with both the split times and the full times as they touch the wall each lap. Looks like Nora putting out a little bit of space between herself and the competitors. Or it looks like we're gonna have a good race for 3rd and 4th though, as these young ladies compete in this 200-yard free. They come to the final lap. They're off and on to the final lap, about half of them now at this point. Everyone making their way to begin their final lap. Nora Hnaus out there in lane 7 making the final turn, coming down the home stretch. We're going to see if her teammates are going to be able to catch her as they come down the final stretch here. Nora touching in first, followed by Miss Simpson, Hadley Simpson, and Emma Fuller. Down in lane 1, Annabelle Den finishing strong. And then a close race here we're going to have for 5th place, as it looks like Miss Sotilli out there in lane 5 might have had a erroneous touch at some point as she finishes her 200 free. Great swim for all these young ladies. Long, grueling race for the 9-10-year-olds. This 200-yard freestyle. Quite an impressive feat to finish a race like this at any age, really. Go try it yourself. Heat 3 of 4 here in event 51 of the girls 9-10 200-yard freestyle. In lane 1, Mira Kalmer of Tolleson. Lane 2, Annabelle Wisenhunt of NCAP. Lane 3, Jenny Hugh of Tolleson as the ladies make their way into the water. Lane 4, Isabel Dennis of AAC. Lane 5, Joanna Liu of Tolleson. Lane 6, Eliza Gustafson of Tolleson. Lane 7, Julia McCarthy of AAC. And Lane 8, Eva Manis of AAC. As the girls come to the first touch here on the first lap of 4 in this 200 free. Heat 3 of 4 of the girls 200 free as they touch the wall and complete their first lap here. First of four laps. Looks to be an excellent race shaping up for second and third place, as Eliza Gustafson out in lane 6 creates a little bit of space between her and the second and third place swimmers right now in this particular heat. Of course, there's still a long ways to go, just coming to the halfway point of this 200 free for these young ladies. We'll see if Julia McCarthy out there in lane 7 from AAC is able to catch Eliza of Tolleson in lane 6 as we pass the halfway point of this heat 3 of the girls 9-10 200-yard freestyle. In lanes 4 and 5, Isabel Dennis of AAC and Joanna Liu of Tolleson neck and neck throughout this race. And down at the bottom of your screen, in lanes 1, 2, and 3, Mira Kalmer, Annabelle Wisenhunt, and Jenny Hugh, also in a tight pack right there, as the leaders. Eliza comes to the final lap of her race, touching. Moving to lap 4. The final of 4 laps in this 200 free. Looks like she is able to keep pace ahead of Julia McCarthy, who's still pushing her from behind out there in lane 7. As they make the final turn, lanes 1 through 3 still pretty packed together there. As Eliza comes down this final lap of the 200 free. Looks like she's going to pull out the win in this heat. But there is a close battle for third there. Between Isabel Dennis and Joanne Liu. It looks like Isabel's going to get her by a hair. As down the bottom of your screen, the last few girls come in for this heat 3 of 4 200 freestyle. Amazing feat by all these young ladies. Can't say enough about them. Last heat of this girls 9-10 200-yard freestyle. In lane 1, Bella Brand of NCAP. Lane 2, Melania Havrileski of Tolleson. Lane 3, Charlotte Schotter of NCAP. Lane 4, Abby Manier of AAC. Lane 5, Michelle Batterdine of AAC. Lane 6, Riley Hahn of Tolleson. Lane 7, Brooklyn McGinley of NCAP. Lane 8, Kimmy Ranellis of NCAP. Girls up on the blocks and ready to go for this final heat of the girls 9-10 200-yard freestyle. They're off and into the water. Quite the race right out the gates as they come off the blocks here. I don't know, do you call them blocks in swimming? Diving boards? I'm not quite sure. Someone should tell me. Good race shaping up, but a lot of swimming left to go here in this 200-yard freestyle as they come to complete the first of 4 laps. In lane 3, Charlotte Schotter with the lead, touching first, followed pretty closely by Riley Hahn out there in the lane 6. In lane 4 and 5, Abby Manier and Michelle Batterdine also racing closely. That battle for second is tight right now as they come to the turn. Charlotte Schotter there in lane 3, still leading by about a body length. But they're coming to the turn, the halfway point of this race. Still a lot of swimming to go here in this final heat of women 9-10 200 freestyle. It looks like they're in lane 4. Abby Manier trying to chase down Charlotte. They're in lap 3 of 4. Great race shaping up for second between Abby and Michelle, both of AAC, in lanes 4 and 5 in this final heat of the women's 9-10 200 free. They're coming to the final lap here as Charlotte touches. Abby Manier in lane 4, just out touching Michelle Batterdine, her teammate, as they push themselves and their competitors. Great job by all these ladies. Down in lane 2, Melania Havrileski coming to the final lap, as well as Brooklyn McGinley up in lane 7 and Kemi Rennells in lane 8. As they the leaders push down the final stretch of this heat. In lane 3, Charlotte Schotter really pushing to finish it out as Abby Manier tries to chase her down. We're going to have a great race for second. It looks like Miss Batterdine just barely chases down Miss Manier here in the final heat of this girls 200 free. Riley Hahn in lane 6, finishing up as our final competitors in this last heat of the girls 9-10 200-yard freestyle finish up here. Amazing job by all these young men and women to finish such a grueling race. It's a long way to swim 200 yards. I don't care what kind of stroke you're doing. If you don't believe me, just try to go swim it yourself. Great job by all of these young ladies. We're moving on to event 52, event 52 boys 9-10 200-yard freestyle on this beautiful November morning. In lane 3, Evan Andrews of Tolleson. Lane 4, Andrew Wisenhunt of Incap. And lane 5, Sam Parker of Tolleson. Event 52 boys 9-10 200-yard freestyle. And they're off. Man, boy, these meets are exciting. They sure move fast. Not paying attention, you'll miss some of the action. 200-yard freestyle, boys 9-10 here, event 52. We have 4 heats of the 200-yard freestyle for the boys 9-10. And then we'll finish out this morning session of the meet of the 3rd day of the PV November Open for the 9-10-year-olds with 100-yard girls and boys butterflies respectively. Evan Andrews out here in lane 3, out leading Andrew Wisenhunt in lane 4 in this boys 200-yard free as they come to the halfway point of this race. Evan making the turn, finishing lap 2. Moving into the final half of this 200-yard freestyle. Coming to finish lap 3 of 4 here is Evan Andrews of Tullison in lane 3. Andrew gonna try to chase him down. Andrew Wisenhunt in lane 4 of InCap. These boys trying to push themselves and each other to new personal best. What a great, wonderful day here for a swim meet. As Evan Andrews comes in to touch. Great job by Evan from Tullison, finishing out this 200 free. And Mr. Wisenhunt coming in here in lane 4, finishing out quite a grueling race. Many kudos to him for finishing such a long, grueling race. 9-10-year-old 200-yard freestyle. We're into heat 2 of 4. In lane 2, Amir Sharifi. In lane 3, Sebastian Cardona. In lane 4, Enzo Popescu of Tullison. In lane 5, Walter Pikowski of Tullison. Lane 6, Eli Shee of Tullison. In lane 7, Kavan Kootman of Tullison. You can see the lane assignments on your screen in front of you, and then at the bottom, once the swimmers get off into the race. Well, just a momentary pause here. We reset. Swimmers reset on the blocks. And they're off and into the water. Sorry for missing the end of that. Actually, almost a full race there. If your child was in it, you know, my apologies. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Here we are in heat 3 of 4 for the boys, 9-10 200-yard freestyle. In lane 1, Weston Caulfield of AAC. In lane 2, Ian Rios of INCAP. In lane 3, Bran Granados Corsamunk of AAC. In lane 4, Sawyer Blaze of INCAP. Lane 5, Blaze Lapine of Tolson. Lane 6, Dylan Clifton of AAC. Lane 7, Connor Clark of INCAP. Lane 8, Alexander Perez of Tolson. The boys are already off and already making their first turn on this first of 4 laps for the men's 200 free. Quite a grueling race here. Looks like a good one, shaping up to be at least, but we are still really early in this race as they come to finish the first of 4 laps here in the 200 free. Close race there between Connor Clark and Ian Rios and Sawyer Blaze, running 3-2-1. As they make the turn on their second of 4 laps here. Looks like Sawyer there in lane 4 has taken about a half body length lead. Over Ian Rios of INCAP in lane 2. 2 teammates. Again, pushing themselves and pushing each other equally. Always helpful to have a buddy when you're suffering through something hard, that's for sure. Trying to push through it. And in 200 free, you certainly are feeling it by the end. If you're not, you probably weren't doing it very hard to begin with. Of course, you know, I could go 200 free at any pace. I'm going to be hurting at the end of it. I don't know about you. As these boys, some of them make the turn. Gonna come in, the leaders here in this particular heat, gonna come into their final of 4 laps. And the boys 9-10 200 freestyle. Sawyer in lane 4 there, still leading Ian. In lane 2. Sawyer making the final turn. It looks like maybe a little bit of confusion down there in lane 2 by Ian, but he's off to finish his final lap of this 200 free. Here comes Sawyer in for to finish the 200 free in lane 4. Down there in lane 3, Brand starting his final lap. As it looks like up in lane 7, Connor Clark coming in to touch the wall. And here comes Ian in to finish off his 200 free. No matter the times, amazing, amazing kudos to all of these young ladies and gentlemen finishing such long, grueling races. Quite a difficult thing to do. As Mr. Granados Corsamunk comes in from AAC in lane 3, finishing out this 200-yard freestyle heat 3 of 4 for the boys, 9-10 on a beautiful Sunday morning, day 3 of the PV November Open here in Prince William County. The morning session of this meet program, the 9-10-year-olds. We're moving into heat 4, the final heat of the boys 9-10 200-yard freestyle. In lane 1, Aaron Richards of Tolleson. Lane 2, Will Coleman of AAC. Lane 3, Ezra Nittenmeyer of INCAP. Lane 4, Preston Roll of INCAP. Lane 5, Miles Ledford of AAC. Lane 6, Nick Francella of INCAP. Lane 7, Keenan Osbeck of AAC. Lane 8, Desmond Brown of AAC. And the boys are off and racing. Getting out to a fast start. Mr. Rawl there in lane 4 from INCAP. but it is still quite a tight pack there amongst these young gentlemen. If you haven't done it lately, get out there, thank your coaches and volunteers. Maybe buy them a donut or a coffee at your next meet just to say thank you. Sounds like a great idea to me. We've got Preston still pushing the pace as they're in lap 2 and they're coming to the turn of the second lap, going in to finish the halfway point of this 200 free. But out there in lane 5, Miles Ledford of AAC trying to give Preston a run for his money, and down in lane 2, Will Coleman, also of AAC, really pressing Preston in lane 4. As they make the turn at the halfway point, still a lot of swimming left in this last heat of the boys 200 free. Out in lane 7, Keenan Osbeck of AAC making the turn into his final lap, and Desmond Brown coming to the wall as well in lane 8 from AAC to his final to finish the halfway point. Pardon me. As in lanes 2 and 4 now, Will Coleman of AAC and Preston Rawle of NCAP neck and neck. Looks like Will has made a move. Coming down to begin the final lap of this 200-yard free. It's really neck and neck between those two boys. Will Coleman in lane 2, Preston Rawle in lane 4, neck and neck as they're coming down the final leg of this stretch. Looks like Preston really saved something up. He is moving down the pool in this last 25 of his 200 free. Moving down the pool quickly. Lane 5 there, Miles Ledford of AAC looking to catch his teammate in lane 2. Is he going to do it? Looks like not quite. Maybe a soft touch there in lane 2 by Mr. Coleman. But a good race all around nonetheless. As some of our swimmers, Aaron Richards beginning his final lap as well. Ezra Ittenmeyer in lane 3 finishing out with a wonderful time. Out in lane 7, Keenan Osbeck of AAC coming in to finish. Amazing, just for all these young gentlemen, the great job they do in finishing the race. Will Coleman heading out to finish his last lap of his 200-yard free. In this last heat for the 9-10 boys, we'll move next into event 53, the girls 9-10 100-yard butterfly. We have 3 heats for the girls and then 2 heats for the boys 9-10 100-yard butterfly. Talk about a grueling race. Butterfly, very unusual motion by your shoulder blades there. I don't know if you've ever tried it. I tried it once and decided I'd never try it again. My kids apparently love it though. Not sure why. All right, now we've finished the last heat of the boys 9-10 200-yard freestyle. Great job to these ladies and gentlemen for all the work they put in. Moving on to heat 1 of event 53, girls 9-10 100-yard butterfly. In lane 3, Alex Bonnier of NCAP. In lane 4, Amara Miner of AAC. In lane 5, Charlie Brattain of AAC. And they're off and in the water for the first of 2 laps for this 100 fly. Here they come quickly down the stretch to finish the first of 2 laps here, the halfway point of this 100 fly. Close race we've got going on between Alex Bonnier of NCAP in lane 3 and Charlie Brattain in lane 4. These young ladies making it look effortless all three of them. Our Mara Minor of lane 4 also coming down the stretch leg to finish out her 100 fly. Here comes Alex. Looks like, again, another little bit of confusion by Charlie. Sometimes it's hard. At the end of these meets, you know, these young ladies and gentlemen, they're tired. And it's easy to get confused. It's easy to get confused if you're up on the wall just watching them. How many laps have they done? How many laps are they supposed to do? We move so quickly through these various events. You know, it's easy to lose track of how long the distance is and what exactly we're swimming at any given point in time. But we are on the women's 9-10 100 fly in lane 3. Alex Monure of INCAP coming down to the finish line to lead this heat as she's pushing hard, pushing herself to a new personal best. She touches the wall. Great time there by her for this 100-yard butterfly heat, 1 of 3 for the 9-10 girls. And there comes Miss Charlie Brittain into the wall. In lane 4, Amara Minor of AAC pushing hard, pushing herself to finish out this 100-yard fly. Just amazing job by all these ladies. All the work that goes into swimming these races, putting these races on, putting the meets on, all the work by the coaches and the parents, all the work by the kids. I'm sure, you know, sometimes they don't quite want to push themselves so hard or don't want to go to practice. That's okay. We're here to help them do hard things well and with joy. Helping build up those muscles of discipline that they'll need to become helpful members of society to others. All right, we're moving on to Heat 2 of the girls' 9-10 100-yard butterfly. In lane 2, Samantha Yelverton of INCAP. Lane 3, Taylor Bondarenko of Tolleson. Lane 4, Emma Fuller of INCAP. Lane 5, Hillary Mitchell of AAC. Lane 6, Gilly Krogan of Tolleson. And lane 7, Eva Plaza of Tolleson. The girls are off and in the water. Moving quickly down is Gilly out there in lane 6. You'll see the lane assignments down at the bottom as these ladies move quickly down the pool, almost to halfway, all of them, of this 100 fly, really moving down the pool quickly. Quite impressive as it is. Quite an unusual stroke. If you've never done it yourself, recommend you go out and try it. It's a little weird, takes some getting used to. Gilly really moving down the pool. She's more than halfway in, coming to last turn as she'll go into the last leg of this race. But a good race shaping up for second for sure. Second and third out there in lane 5, Hillary Mitchell, and lane 7, Eva Plaza. Down in lane 2, Samantha Yelverton, also competing for that second and third place as they race the finish. Looks like Gilly is going to run away with it here in lane 6 for this particular heat with an amazing time of 1:18.79. But we've got the races on for second and third. Looks like in lane 2, maybe we've got Samantha Yelverton going to come in second. Looks like she had a great finish down that last leg of the race. And in third place, out in lane 7, Eva Plaza finishing it out. Amazing race by all of these young ladies. Heat 3, our last heat of 3 for the girls' 9-10 100-yard butterfly before we move into our final event. In lane 1, Ainsley Lamont of AAC. In lane 2, Kinsey Alex of INCAP. Lane 3, Tori Brown of INCAP. Lane 4, Reagan Marm of INCAP. Lane 5, Madison Woodward of INCAP. Lane 6, Kensington White of INCAP. Lane 7, Hannah Demisi of INCAP. And lane 8, Bella Brand of INCAP. Just Ainsley Lamont out there in lane 1, breaking up this all INCAP show again. And these girls are out and racing almost to the first turn before I even finish telling you their names. Down at the bottom, you'll see the lane assignments and the times off the block. In lane 4, Reagan Marm of INCAP leading the way as they come to the halfway point of this 100 fly. Followed pretty closely in lane 3 by Tori Brown, and lane 5, Madison Woodward. Here they go down the pool as a touch and come back for the final leg of this final heat of the 100-yard butterfly, girls 9-10 100-yard butterfly, event 53. It looks like Reagan Marm has run away with this heat. Also putting down a pretty amazing time of 1:16.97. It's a close race for second though. It looks like Ainsley Lamont of AAC, all the way from behind, comes out and takes second place with 1:27.52, followed closely by Tori Brown in lane 3. And out there in lane 7, Miss Demissy, Hannah Demissy of NCAP. Excellent race by all these young ladies. Great job by them and everyone who makes this possible. We're going to be moving quickly here into the final event. Event 54, final event in this morning session of day 3 of the PV November Open Meet Program. Heat 1 of 2, boys 9-10 100-yard butterfly. Lane 3, Asher Cameron of AAC. Lane 4, Jacob Rich of Tolleson. And lane 5, Jameson Mount of VinCap. Again, just a beautiful Sunday morning here for us to be out at this wonderful facility, Prince William County, at the PV November Open. On the third day of this meet, Veterans Day on Friday. Get out there and thank the veterans around you who have served and or continue to serve. We've got a good race shaping up here between these boys. In lanes 4 and 5, Jacob Rich of Tolleson and Jameson Mount of NCAP coming to the halfway point of the race as they touch and move on down in the third of 4 legs in this 100 fly. The first of 2 heats for the boys 9-10 100-yard butterfly. Jameson Mount trying to chase down Jacob Rich of Tolleson out there in lane 4, who has made the turn and is into the final leg. Jacob really racing, all these boys really racing against themselves, trying to improve themselves, which is in fact how we win at life, right? Trying to constantly improve ourselves. Good discipline and habits built by swimming. Certainly, you want to race and compete against your competitors as much to improve each other as to beat them. Though winning is nice, isn't it? Here in first place, Jacob Rich with a nice time, 1:30.75 for a 100-yard butterfly. Followed relatively closely by Jameson Mount of NCAP. Asher Cameron working hard to finish out this 100 fly. Another grueling race. Very hard discipline in swimming. Rather unnatural motion. If you've never done it, as I said before, why don't you get out there and try it and see how you do. We're going to move into the last and final heat of this morning session, 9-10 meet program on the final day of the PV November Open on this Veterans Weekend. Heat 2 of 2 for the boys, 9-10 100-yard butterfly. Event 54 in lane 2, Brandon Patton of NCAP. Lane 3, Quinn Moynihan of NCAP. Lane 4, Charlie Hartman of AAC. Lane 5, Ian Rios of NCAP. Lane 6, Arins Anchonlu of NCAP. And lane 7, Evan Andrews of Tolleson. They're off and down almost to the first turn of this 100-yard fly in the first of 4 legs. Tight race here shaping up out between Arinze Anchonlu, Acholanu in lane 6 and Evan Andrews in lane 7. For second place, down in lane 4, Charlie Hartman leading the field as they come to the halfway point. Finish the first 50. Oh, a great turn there in lane 7 by Evan Andrews, it looks like, as he really came off the wall flying. But Mr. Mr. Hartman of AAC in lane 4. Charlie Hartman really outracing him down the length of the pool as they complete the stroke, but still great turn again by Evan Andrews as he makes up that ground. We'll have to see how it plays out down this final leg. Looks like Charlie Hartman really moving down the pool good. Perhaps a tight race shaping up for third place there. Great race by Charlie Hartman in lane 4, followed by Evan Andrews out there in lane 7 in second place. Anna Rinze in lane 6 of NCAP coming in third. As Ian Rios finishes up in lane 5 and 4th. These boys finishing out the final heat of the last event of the morning session on the third day of the PV November Open. Many thanks again to all the volunteers, coaches, helpers, kids who work so hard to make these meet happen, and for the beautiful environment here in Prince William County that we're able to swim at. I thank you. My name's Kerry Bolster. I hope you've enjoyed my announcing as much as I've enjoyed announcing, and I hope to see you for a future meet soon. Have a great day.